guys, welcome back to my really long channel. This is the Bed and Breakfast Girl by Jacqueline Wilson. This is all Jacqueline Wilson's own work. I'm just reading it for entertainment and pleasure. Today I'm going to read the last chapter. I can't believe we're there already, guys. So without further ado, let's get going. This chapter is on page 191 and it is called My Best and Biggest Ever Breakfast. Let's go. We couldn't go back to bed in room 608 when the fireman put the fire out at last. It wasn't all burnt to bits. It was only the kitchen that had cooked itself into little black crumbs. But the whole corridor was thick with smoke and slushy with water, and all the rooms looked as if someone had run amok with the giant paintbrushes and vats of black paint. All our stuff was covered in this black treacle, and there was a sharp smell that scratched at your nostrils. "Sorry, folks, you'll have to stay in a temporary accommodation for a few weeks," said the chief fireman, shaking his head. He looked surprised when all the residents of the Royal gave a hearty cheer. The manager was prancing about in his silk boxer shorts, pointing out that only a few of the rooms were seriously fire damaged and that the first few floors were barely affected. There was a lot of rushing around, consulting, and eventually it was decided that only the people living on the top 2 floors needed to be evacuated. Our 6th floor and 5th floor hugged and danced and shouted. All the other residents booed and argued and complained. Naomi and I had a big hug because she's on the 5th floor, so she could come too. Then Funnyface came and clapped hands with me because, though he's on the 4th floor, their room right now below the burnt kitchen, and the water had swelled right down through the room underneath and was dripping through to them, so they couldn't stay either. We were all ferried off in police cars and coaches to this big church hall, where several big bossy ladies with cardigans over their nighties handed out blankets and pillows and sleeping bags. They gave us paper cups of hot soup too, which we needed because the church hall was freezing. The floor was slippery lino and fun to skid across in your socks, but not exactly cosy or comfy when we settled down to go to sleep. And it soon got crowded because Pippa unzipped my sleeping bag and stuck herself in too. She kept having nightmares and twitching, and I had to keep waking her up and dragging her off to the toilet because I was all too aware of what would happen if I didn't. There was only one toilet in there and there were queues for it all night long. It was worse in the morning. There was only the one small wash basin too, and most people didn't have their toothbrushes or flannels or towels anyway. I don't know why we were flipping cheering last night," said Mum, trying to wipe Hank's sticky face with a damp hanky. "Compared with this drafty old dump, the Royal is practically a palace." "We can't stay here," said Max, sitting up and scratching. "I'm going right down that housing department first thing." "Oh yes," said Mum, looking at him. "You're walking down the road in your underpants, right? Don't forget you haven't even got any trousers anymore. And look at me. This is all I've got. The old nightie that I'm wearing. All my clothes, all my makeup, all my crinoline lady ornament. All gone. Even if they're not ruined by that smoke, then someone will bound to nick them before I can get back to claim them." She started to cry, so I went and put my arms round her. "Don't cry, Mum," I said, hugging her tight. "You've still got us." Mum snuffled a bit and then hugged me back. "Yes, that's right, Elsa. I've still got my family, my Max, my baby, my little girl, and my special big girl." The special big girl went a bit snuffly herself then. I was glad that Funnyface in the next row of sleeping bags was still fast asleep, or he might have jeered. He looked oddly little, snuggled up under the blanket, and he sucked his thumb and all. More big bossy ladies breezed into the hall and started heating up a big urn of tea. They had lots of packets of biscuits too. I helped hand them round to everyone. We could have seconds and even thirds. A bourbon, a shortbread finger, and a chocolate hobnob make quite a good breakfast. Then the ladies started dragging in the black plastic sacks crammed with clothes. "Come and help yourselves. There should be enough for a new outfit for everyone." "Oh, big deal," Mum grumbled. "It's just tatty old junk left over from Jumbles. I'm not wearing anyone's old crumpling cast-offs." She watched Funnyface's Mum trying to squeeze herself into a tight black skirt. "She's wasting her time. She'll never get that over her big bum," Mum mumbled. And when Funnyface's Mum had to give up the attempt, Mum darted out and snatched the skirt herself. "There, I thought so. That's a Betty Barclay skirt. I've seen them on sale in flower fields. Hey, look, does it fit? Mum pulled it up over her narrow hips and stood preening. I wonder if there's a jacket to go with it, eh? Mum started skimming her way through the plastic sacks and came up with all sorts of goodies, even a pair of patent high heels with her exact size. She had more trouble finding stuff for Mac, considering the only size he takes is outsize. She found a jumper that could just about go round him, but the biggest trousers could barely do up, and the legs ended way above his ankles. Hank was a bit of a problem too. There were heaps of baby clothes, but he's such a big baby that the average 1-year-old's sleeping suit came unpopped every time he breathed out and bent him up double into bargain. Pippa was fine, fitting all the little frocks a treat, but I looked like such a fool in only one my size that Mum threw it back in the pile. Naomi tried it on instead and looked gorgeous, but then she always does. Funny Face was delivering a sack of boys' clothes, so I had sift through too, and found some jeans and a jumper and a really great baseball bomber jacket with a picture of a lion on the back. Well, we're all kitted out like a dog's dinner, but we've still got no place to go, said Mac, but he was wrong. Oh, you'll never guess where we ended up. Someone from the social and the man from the housing office came round to the church hall to tell us. We were all going to be temporarily accommodated in another hotel. Not a special bed and breakfast DHS dumping ground, a real hotel, the Star Hotel with stars after its name. When we stepped through the starry glass doors, it was like finding fairyland. There were soft sofas all over the reception area and thick red carpet and flowers in great vases, and a huge chandelier sparkled from the ceiling. All of us lot from the Oil Hotel crowded into reception area, and Mum and Mac and Naomi's mum and Funny Face, Mum and Dad, and all the other grown-ups were sprawled on the sofas while we all ran around and round the red carpet and up and down the wide staircase and rang all the bells on the lift. The star manager came out of his office to meet us. He didn't look terribly thrilled to see us, but he shook us all by the hand, even the little stickiest kid, and welcomed us to the Star Hotel. Then there were lots of hoo-ha and argy-bargy about rooms, with manager and his chief receptionist going into a huddle. This receptionist was dark instead of blonde, and fierce instead of fluffy, but she also had long pointy fingernails, and she started to tap them very impatiently indeed. But at last it was all sorted out, and she handed all of us the little cards instead of keys. We were in suite 13. It might be an unlucky number for some people, but it was a lucky number. It was lucky for us. No, I said suite, not room, as we shot up the floor in the lift and padded along the thickly carpeted corridor. Pippa licked her lips, hopefully, thinking we were going to be given a sweetie suite, even if I didn't twig what suite really meant. Suite 13 wasn't just room, it was a set of 3 rooms, just like a little flat, only there was nothing little about suite 13. It was really big and beautiful. The main room was blue, with deeper blue velvet curtains and a dark blue coverlet on the huge bed. There was a painting on the wall of a boy in a blue velvet suite, and a blue glass vase on the bedside table filled with little blue pretendy rosebuds. There was a dressing table with a swivel mirrors, and so you could see the back of your head, and blue leather folder containing notepaper and envelopes, and a blue felt tip pen patterned with stars. There was a big television too, a colour one, and it even had sky. There was a bathroom leading off the main room. It was blue too, with a blue bath, blue basin, and even a blue loo. They all shone like the sea, and they were so sparkly clean. Laid out on the gleaming tiled shelf were little blue bottles of shampoo and bath gel and tiny cakes of forget-me-not soap. Mum sniffed them rapturously, her eyes shining. Mac kicked his shoes off and lay on the big bed, Hank sitting astride in his tummy. The bed was so big that even Mac could fit right inside it, and his feet wouldn't stick out at the end. I thought we might all have to fit inside because it was the only bed in the room. Then I saw another door and opened it. There was another bedroom with 3 single beds and 3 little bedside tables and 3 little wooden chairs with carved hearts and painted roses. It was just like the 3 Bears fairy story, and there were bears on the duvets too, and painting of Goldilocks up on the wall. The carpet and wallpaper were pale blue, but the ceiling was a deep navy. with stars scattered all over it. That night, when I slept in my wonderful, soft, splendid bed at number 9, I could still see the stars, even with the light switched off. They glowed luminously in the dark, and my own magic midnight stars. I didn't want to sleep, just in case this was all a wonderful dream, and when I woke up I'd be back in the gotty old oil hotel. But it wasn't a dream at all. I woke up early and lay luxuriating in my bed, and then I crept into Mum and Mac's room. They were all cuddled up together, looking friendly, even though they were fast asleep. I sat down at the dressing table and practiced a few funny faces, and then I took a piece of paper and a felt tip pen and wrote letters to all of my friends. Star Hotel. Dear Jamie, I hope you haven't forgot me. I'm Elsa, and I don't like my new school much, but I do like my new home. It's ever such a posh hotel, and it's nearer your school. Maybe I can come back, which would be great. Love from Elsa. P.S. I'm the girl they said was thick, but you said I was intelligent. Dear Mrs. Hoover, sorry, Mrs. Macpherson. Hey, this hotel is heaps better than the Royal. Why don't you come and work here? I bet you'd like it, and I'd give you a hand. The walls have got fancy papers, so no one ever scribbles on them. Love, Elsa. Dear Naomi, isn't it super here? My bedroom's got stars on the ceiling. Has yours? I hope we don't have to go back to the Royal for ages and ages. See you at breakfast. Love from your friend Elsa. Dear Funny Face, there are lots of bushes and trees and stuff at the end of the Star Hotel garden, so maybe we could make a camp. See you, Elsa. Dear Pippa, I will read you this letter, seeing as you can't read it yet yourself. It is from me, Elsa, and it's just to say hello, and we'll play lots today. Love from your big sister, Elsa. Dear Hank, hello baby, hello big baby, love from your big sister, Elsa. Dear Mum, it's lovely here. I don't think you'll ever be sad or cross or ever again, eh? Lots and lots of love from Elsa. Dear Mac, hey the new, that's all the Scottish I know. Love from Elsa. Dear Elsa, I'm having a lovely time here. I have been writing lots and lots of letters. I even wrote one to the warthog. But I am too happy to hate anyone, and there are stars on my ceiling, and I have stars in my eyes, because it is so super here at the Star Hotel. Love and kisses from Elsa. There, I used up all the notepaper and gave myself a big appetite for breakfast. Ooh, the breakfast. You have it in a lovely room with a dark pink swirly carpet and pink fuzzy paper on the walls and rose pink cloths on the table. You sit at a table and spread the rose pink napkin on your lap, and a waitress in a black frock and a white apron comes and asks you what you want to drink. Then you go and help yourself to whatever you want to eat from the breakfast bar. You can have whatever you want, lots and lots of it. Even Mum had more breakfast than usual. She had freshly squeezed orange juice and a black coffee and toast and butter and marmalade. Mac had tea and a bowl of porridge because he's Scottish, and then he had a big plate of bacon and egg and mushrooms and fried potatoes and even more bacon because that's his favourite, and he tucked the extra bacon into the toast to make it bacon butty. Pippa didn't copy me. She chose all by herself, apple juice and cocoa pops and milk and a soft white roll and butter and honey. Hank had hot milk and a little bowl of porridge like his dad and a running egg and tiny little toast soldiers. He loved this breakfast and he wanted to wave his arms about to show his appreciation, and he dropped a few crumbs, more than a few actually, on the carpet, but no one seemed to mind, and the waitress tickled him under the chin and said he was a chubby little cherub. Mum and Mac and Pippa and Hank all knew exactly what they wanted for breakfast, but I was one who simply couldn't decide because it all looked so delicious. So guess what? I had almost all of it. I had milky tea and a cranberry juice and cornflakes sprinkled with rainbow sugar, and then muesli with extra sultanas and apple rings, and then scrambled egg on toast with tomato sauce, and then sausages stuck in a long roll to make a hot dog, and then big jammy Danish pastry, and I ate it all up, every little bit. It was the best breakfast ever. What with the cranberry juice and the cherry jam in the pastry, I ended up looking like Dracula, and that reminded me of a Dracula breakfast joke, and that got me started. I told jokes to Mum and Mac and Pippa and Hank, and I shouted them to Naomi and Funny Face across the tables, and I tried them out on our waitresses too because she seemed friendly, and she said I was a proper caution. Do you want to hear a small sample? What does Dracula like for breakfast? Ready neck. What do ghosts like for breakfast? Dreaded wheat. What do cannibals like for breakfast? Buttered host. What do Frenchmen eat for breakfast? We eat beef. How would a cannibal describe a man in a hammock? Breakfast in bed. What happens when a baby eats Rice Krispies? It goes snap, crackle, pop. I must stop rabbiting on like this. Well, just one more. What do you get if you pour boiling water down a rabbit hole? Hot cross bunnies. I'm not hot. I feel super cool. I'm not cross. I'm happy, happy, happy. I'm not a bunny. I'm Elsa and I roar like a lion. Hey, what do you get if you cross a lion with a parrot? I don't know, but if he says, Pretty Polly, you'd better smile. And that is the end of our book. Thank you so much, guys, for listening again. Really appreciate it. Until the next book, got to do a bit of digging out for this next book, so it might be a little while until I find them and decide. Until then, enjoy all the books on my channel so far. I've done quite a few now, I've lost count. But thank you again for listening, and until the next time, bye guys. Bye.